Welcome to another episode of the Your Longevity Blueprint podcast. Today, my guest is Jennifer Henczel, who is a podcaster, author, and founder of the Inspiring Innovators Club and the Women's Podcasters Network show and awards. Jennifer's mission is to lift women's voices and stories globally. Jennifer is known for her ability to build thriving, supportive, and collaborative communities, and she teaches others how to do the same. She loves creating opportunities for women to connect and collaborate in meaningful ways. Using her proprietary Rise, Reach, Results roadmap, Jennifer provides tools, templates, and trainings to help her members generate more impact and influence. Jennifer speaks about her mindset, messaging, and monetization strategies for building communities, leveraging content, and turning expertise into multiple streams of income. Jennifer is an award-winning leader and has won or been nominated for a number of awards. Most recently, she won the Business Podcast of the Year award from Podcast Awards for her Women in Podcasting show and the Innovator of the Year award at the Quill Podcast Awards. And this month is Women in Podcasting Awards. I mean, that is happening like right now. So, welcome to the show, Jennifer.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. Yes, and I'm so thrilled to learn about your show through the Women Podcasters Awards because I have been studying, my husband and I have been studying longevity, and so I am just so thrilled to find out about your show. I've been listening obsessively, and I love it. I love it. I can't get enough of it. And so I really hope people vote for you because you're in the awards and up for an award. So in May, from May 1st till the end of May, people can vote for you.
Well, thank you for your support. Yeah. So your interest in longevity, I think, stemmed from a story you had, something unfortunate that happened to your husband. So do you want to kind of tell me your story, kind of how you were able to break through and turn this kind of part-time side gig into a full-time business after it sounds like maybe that happened. So expand on that for me if you can.
Yeah, well, for many years, I had my business as a side gig. And then, and so I was working full time at my full time job and doing my business at night, and I was exhausted. It was exhausting. I was really getting burnt out, and I was really feeling isolated. And then the worst thing happened. I got the worst phone call anyone ever wants to hear. It was my husband's boss, and he said I have to come to the hospital right away because my husband was in a bad accident at work. And I went to the hospital. And I didn't even recognize him at first. He had been
Oh my
crushed by
gosh.
yeah, he had been crushed by thousands of pounds of wood. And thankfully he survived.
Hmm.
He's been left with multiple injuries,
Mm-hmm.
but he survived and I'm so proud of him. I saw so much courage in him. And one of the things that really impacted me after his accident was the communities he had been involved in came around and rallied around him. He was a volunteer football coach, for example, and the players and the coaches would come around and say, "We're here for you, Coach Paul." And that was so touching to us and really sustained us through that time. And it really blew up our lives, the whole situation, but it also kind of ignited something within us and something within me that made me think I don't want to keep putting my passions on the back burner
Yeah.
because, a lot of us do that.
Life is short, literally.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
exactly. I was burning out doing a whole bunch of stuff I didn't want to do. And I thought, what if I tried doing stuff I do want to do? And then also I saw the community aspect and I felt that was missing in my entrepreneur and business life. And so I thought, how about if I just invite a bunch of business owners to lunch one day? And so I did that and I rented this little room and invited some just to see. I wasn't very organized with it at the time. And to my surprise, 50 business owners showed up
Wow.
from my local community. And so it
Either they
made me
wanted
think.
community or you were a big deal. I don't know.
No, I didn't have much of a platform at the time at all. Yeah. So it was just it made me realize other people were looking for community as well.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And so I wasn't the only one. And so, that first meeting turned into a group and that group turned into a network and I had multiple chapters. I ended up with multiple chapters in different cities around my area and I ended up with owning and running a large business network. And I was able to use my platform to help my husband go from an injured mill worker to an international speaker and author. And so
Wow.
he wrote a book about our story and he did a TED Talk called Silencing Stigma Through Storytelling. And so for us, community and storytelling was absolutely key to helping my
Yeah.
husband rehab and get through that very challenging time. And so, it was amazing to me. One of the things that I found out that I realized is You need to build your circle of support around you. It's not going to build itself.
Mm.
And people will help you if you show up to be helped. And you need to put yourself in a position to experience the value of being connected and in a community. So you need to become community oriented. So, I was in a phase before that where it was all hustle, hustle, and competition. And this is more of a collaborative, community oriented. It feels way better
Yeah,
doing
yeah, yeah.
business in that state,
Sure.
right?
Sure.
And so the myth is that the one who, teaches the most, creates the best website, has the most products, or just hustling 12, 14, 16 hours a day, which I was doing, which was not working. That if you do all that you will get success, but it's actually the opposite. You need to take care of yourself if you want to
Hmm.
have success in anything else. Taking care of yourself needs to come first. And so that whole situation was a catalyst for us to learn about all of that, all the self-care and everything towards longevity and taking care of ourselves first rather than taking care of everything else and burning out on that and not leaving anything for ourselves.
So now I want to hear more of his story, and I obviously need to listen to the TED Talk, but I'm going to ask a personal question. I can obviously edit this out later, but so how's he doing today?
Yeah, so he does have
Yeah,
some lasting invisible injuries, and so that's why
sure.
his TED Talk was about silencing stigma through storytelling because it was
Yes,
all about
yes.
invisible injuries. So he has a cognitive disorder, he has a brain injury, he has
Wow.
migraines and headaches
Oh,
quite a bit,
yep,
and so we're working towards that and just some physical limitations.
sure.
Yeah.
Functional neurology, some functional medicine. Maybe you've already taken advantage of that, but could probably help him there.
Oh,
Um, so on another note, let's go kind of back to you kind of turning your passion into your full-time gig. So what can you say to encourage other people to do the same thing? Like, how do they take the leap? You were obviously brave in a midst of chaotic situation with your family, but what advice do you have to other individuals?
well, the cool thing is making that decision. I gave myself a month to see if I could turn my passion into a business, and I did it. So in 2012, I was able to turn my side gig into my full-time income, and I haven't worked for anyone since. So that's quite a number of years I've been able to do it. It hasn't always been easy because I was also taking care of my husband for a number of
Sure.
especially those initial years, right? But definitely be involved in a community. So even if you don't want to start your own community, get involved in the community. I know a lot of us don't want to leave, especially when you're working from home now and things like that. You may not feel like leaving, but we have to have connection. You need to find connection,
Hmm.
whether it's through your business life or your personal life. Something needs to draw you out into the community where you can connect with other people because I really believe that connecting with other humans is one of the most important things that can happen in our well-being, in the universe, in our society, in the world. We need to have connection with each other and with other human beings in our daily and weekly lives.
I totally agree. And just preparing to interview you today, well, or yesterday, last night, I was reminded of early on my show, right? I have over 200 episodes out, but early on, episode 15, I think it was something like 15, I had interviewed Sandra Scheinbaum, who talked about the importance of community and connection and curiosity actually for longevity. And this was closer to the COVID time. And, she was mentioning, obviously, we knew back then, we were learning how important community was for everyone, like regardless of where they were, especially in times of lockdown and quarantine, whatnot. But having that, connection is just, it really is essential. And so she explained even back then, because she has a functional medicine coaching academy, but how important even virtual connection can be to give you that sense of community when you can't have it during, lockdowns and whatnot. But also, I just want to mention, so strong social connections are significantly linked to increased longevity and improved health. So research suggests that social isolation can increase risk of premature death like by 50%. So factors like the stress of being socially isolated can weaken the immune system and also just can lead to unhealthy behaviors, right? When you're isolated and depressed, whatnot. So true. And I wanted to mention that because the listeners might be thinking, okay, who's this Jennifer you're bringing on the show and how does this pertain to longevity? But actually, community, as we experienced early on in the show, way back on episode 15, right, we know has a very important role in longevity. So you're an expert on kind of building that community. So I guess I want to hear more about how you have built the community, but I also want to learn more of what you and your husband have done, like what um, we'll say anti-aging or, biohacking modalities you brought into your life to obviously improve his recovery and your longevity in general. So that was two questions. Maybe let's talk about that first. So kind of tell me what modalities you've incorporated into your lifestyle as a result of that experience you went through with your husband.
Yeah, so we were able to learn so many, and we're still learning as we go. And it's very exciting now to make that a priority in our life. And so I ended up selling that network, and now I do have virtual online communities
Yeah,
where
yeah, yeah.
there will be some meetings along the way, but the Women Podcasters Network and the Inspiring Innovators Club. And so definitely, whether it's online or offline, you need to have connection with other people. And so the one of the things that we really started with was affirmations really helped a lot. And not only just affirmations, but what we do is we record affirmations and different meditation type things of our own voice, and then we play it when we're in theta state before we go to sleep or when we wake up. And that is very effective.
Give
That's
me an
been very
example of something that you're saying to yourself, if you're
so it
comfortable.
yeah, yeah. I could look some of them up, but the different we've done hundreds of different kinds of affirmations. So everything like my body is able to heal itself. My
Yes,
body
yes.
is strong. My body loves to have rest. My body is awake and excited about the day. Today is going to be a good day.
Yes.
Today is going to be filled with exciting opportunities. And just to remind ourselves of that. And when you do that, when you're in theta stage, it can absorb better into your behaviors and your habits.
Love that. Okay, what else? That was a good one. What else do you do?
Yeah. So gratitude practices go hand in hand with that as well. And then meditation and hypnosis. And so that those are all, go well together. Storytelling was a big one, and it was connected closely with the community stuff. And so we would speak at other people's events and community organizations and in our own community and group as well that I had created that platform to do. And then ended up on larger and larger stages. And so we speak online as well. So we just find that storytelling has been a huge part of my husband's recovery. And we find that it helps us in life because when we tell our story, it
Yeah.
encourages other people to tell their story.
Yes, yes. And then there becomes the purpose through the pain, right? Well,
Exactly.
100%. Okay, let me go back to gratitude though. So there are different types of like gratitude practices. So how do you incorporate that?
Yep. So we make a list in a journal of things, of amazing things that have happened in our life, whether we've had unexpected money come in or
Sure.
we've run into some people, we had an enjoyable time, just different things like that. We'll write it down and then we will look back at the list every week and say, what are the amazing things that happened this week and be grateful for that. And we can go and walk up. We have that on our mantle if we have guests come over, we put it away, but just for our daily life, we'll have it there and we'll go up and look at it whenever we need to have a
That
little
little
motivation
reminder,
boost.
yes.
Yeah.
It's so good to write that down too, because there's something to be said. I'm a paper person. I'm not a digital person. I might be a little technologically slow. Like there's something to be said about writing it down, because
Yeah.
then it's processed differently. Like, oh my gosh, I'm thankful that this happened today, and like taking the time to do that. Because I do
Yes.
get, you get busy in the hustle and bustle of life and get home from work and make dinner and put the kids to bed and you just wake up and do the whole thing over again. And so you have to create this space. One of my previous guests, Lindsay Lee, she talked about really just you have to create the space for silence and stillness, time to practice gratitude. One of her tips was just like literally to wake up before she gets out of bed and to have a gratitude practice and set the intention for the day and say a prayer. And it's like, oh, that sounds so simple, but you got to get in the habit of doing that, to
Hmm.
set that intention for the day. So, yeah, she's echoing what you're saying. Let me go back to storytelling. So does your husband primarily tell his story, or are you involved in that too? Like, you both
We
you
both
shared, yeah,
have different
yeah, yeah.
stories, different perspectives of that story, and I have other stories as well. And so yeah, so we do speak together or separately,
Yeah,
and
awesome.
that's yeah. And so yeah,
Well, no,
yeah.
continue. I don't want to cut you off. If you have more nuggets, share them. Yeah.
Yeah, part of my membership is I have a story academy to help other people talk about their story and have different lengths of story. So everything from an introduction, how do you weave your story into a 1 minute, 5 minute introduction, and then the regular 15, 20 minute, 45-minute talk.
Oh, I love that. I got to take that. People connect with stories and music. I feel like those are two, what do you call it? Internet, not international, but like transcontinent, whatever you want to call it. Everybody
Yeah,
connects with that. Okay, let me
exactly.
go b back to because I think there are more nuggets there too. You were telling me you follow Brian Johnson, so tell me some of the things you may have learned from him along the way, other maybe unique practices.
Yeah, so one of the things we learned from Brian Johnson, his blueprint was the Tabata exercise. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Mm-mm.
So it's a 4 minute workout, pardon me, that you can add to your regular workouts. And so you perform 20 seconds of intense exercise followed by 10 seconds of rest. And you do that for 4 minutes.
I think
And
we did this
it's
in CrossFit. This is sounding familiar. I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it's different exercises that he recommends, but really you can do it with anything. We'll do it with arm curls or anything, and it's just a different way of going about it. And so we'll do that throughout the day instead of so if we don't have time to have a full workout, say first thing in the morning, we will spread it out throughout the day and keep the weights out and be able to do that. The other thing we do, and this wasn't from Brian Johnson, but it's kind of similar in that it offers mobility as we get older and it offers everything good for our brain and body, is we've started bachata dancing, which is
I don't know what
just
that is.
so it's just a type of dance similar
Yeah,
to it's a Spanish type of dance or like a swing type of dance, those kinds of dances. So we've joined a dance class, and we've been really enjoying that just for mobility,
sure,
and
sure.
exercise. And then the other thing, this wasn't from Brian Johnson necessarily, but we've studied manifestation and visualization. So we have a vision
Ooh,
board.
talk more
And so
about that. Yeah, yes. Yeah. Sure, over there. Yeah, yeah.
you can see the vision board there. And we do something called neurographic drawing. So I liked what you said before about being connected to writing things down. I don't know if you've heard of neurographic drawing, but it has helped a lot. It's like meditating, and it's really gives your brain a rest. So it really helps me and gives my brain a rest. And
So
I'll do
explain that. I want to Google it while I'm talking to you, but then I can't listen and multitask. So to explain more of what you mean? Are you doing neurographic drawing on your vision board or these separate things?
Yeah, so what we do, the type of neurographic drawing I do are little postcards so that I can do them a full drawing in one sitting. And so normally it's with pens. You can draw with a black pen and then you can color it in with different colored pens if you want. And then, so what we did was we took that neurographic drawing skill and we put it into our vision board. And so the vision board has even more impact. We've done vision boards in the past. It was so neat because when we downsized and moved into our apartment here, we found our old vision board in the house and everything on it had come about.
Manifested. That's awesome. I was just going to
Yeah.
ask for someone who wants to start like their very first vision board, like maybe I guess you don't have to share total personal examples or financial things or whatnot, but
Mhm.
what were some of those early things that you had put on there that have come to fruition?
Yeah. Just everything in every slice of life. So we'll do, things for everything from travel. So we've done some exciting traveling that
Hmm.
we didn't realize at the time that we would have done. We've the different places we've lived, the finances, different things like
Yeah,
that that
yeah,
have
yeah.
come about that we were just thrilled to find our vision board and every single thing on the vision board had come true. And now we've created a new vision board with even higher aspirations. But this time we did each piece instead of taking it out of magazines or different or photos
Yeah.
and printing things off and stuff. We drew
Drew
each
them.
one.
Yeah. So that's how
So
you, yeah, incorporated that. Yeah, that's very cool.
and then
So
we
then,
can look at it.
so then when they come true, do you color them? If they're drawn, then you have to color them when they happen.
Yeah, yeah. Then you can add color to them if you want to. Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. Okay. So let's go back to, unless you have any other tips on that, any like longevity tips, aging tips, or if you kind of shared your main nuggets.
Well, another thing for your brain is something called environmental anchors. Are you familiar with that?
Nope, you're teaching me here. Continue.
So environmental anchors are using visual cues, vision boards, or music to bring you into a certain state, right? So if you're in a state you're just not feeling comfortable, something's going wrong,
Yeah, yeah,
something like
yeah.
that. You can play a song, you can play music, you can play, or we have our vision board that we can look at. We have our journal out where we can see it. Those are just environmental cues. So things, instead of putting everything away where you're not going to see it, it's really important to remind yourself, especially when you're creating new habits, and have the things out where you can see them. So in the very beginning, we used to put our affirmations up on the mirror
Like the
so that
bathroom
we
mirror
could,
in the morning. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, yeah.
sure.
So that's a common one. It really does work. It seems simple but it really, really is effective and really works if you put some affirmations on the mirror so that you see them every morning.
Yep. That's how I memorize things. That's how I used to like memorize scripture or whatnot. You just put it right in front of your face and eventually you're gonna memorize it. That's probably also why they say, like, if you're gonna start going to the gym, which I do tell my husband this, like, just get your workout clothes ready, get your shoes ready so you can just roll out of bed. They're there, you see them, you're motivated to
Yeah,
go get
that's
your
an
get your
environmental cue.
Yes, yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess I have heard of those, but I
Yeah.
need to be setting more of those up for myself, it sounds like. That was good.
Hmm.
Um, are there any other like stress reduction tips? I mean, obviously you went through a lot. He had a very long recovery. He's still recovering. I mean, there's still, like you said, some damage that you guys are working to heal. So, any other major stress reduction tips that you've personally used that were really successful for you that you
Well,
haven't shared already?
yeah, there's still quite a few I could share with you. One of the other ones is the melt method. So that's just where you lay on the foam roller and use the foam roller to work out your fascia and things like that around your body. That's really, really important for circulation and for mobility.
Sure.
So the melt method. Sleep, of course, that's another one from Brian Johnson that he works on. Sleep is so important, as you know.
Hmm.
And so we're always working on that. I found it very challenging being in menopause. I didn't even realize I had entered menopause, and then I got tested, and I'm actually in post-menopause. So, okay.
We help women, yeah, regain their
Yeah.
sleep, yeah, through, well, at least my clinic, we offer a lot of hormone replacement therapy, bioidentical natural hormone replacement therapy. So
Oh,
if you haven't already experienced that, could greatly help your sleep. Pro,
oh, good to know.
progesterone specifically is very soothing, calming, great for anxiety, sleep, PMS. It just can really put women into a deeper sleep. Some women
Okay.
say they're dreaming again. So just little tips. And I do track my sleep. Sleep is actually the top longevity tip out of all the shows I've done that comes up that I ask the guests at the end. Most of them are realizing how important sleep is. And so there are different biohacking devices that will track your sleep, like the Oura Ring. That's what I use personally. I don't know if you're using some device or not,
Not yet,
but yeah,
no, but I
yeah,
have been looking at the Aura Ring, so I'm
yeah.
glad to hear that.
Okay, so sleep. Anything else?
Well, the other thing is listening to binaural beats and bilateral beats. That has really helped us a lot. We do that every day. A lot of these we do every single day. But the we couldn't live without the binaural beats and the bilateral music. So that's where, have you heard bilateral music?
So I actually had a guest talk about this, I don't know, a month or two ago, and I forget what she called, but she said she had these metal things. What are they called? That I thought that those did those beats. I don't know.
Oh,
But
maybe.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah, there are different
yeah,
types of
yeah,
instruments for sure that do that kind of stuff. The binaural probably uses things like that, really interesting instruments, tongue drums and things like that. But the bilateral beats is done engineered with audio where it sounds like it's going around your head, and it's very, very, you can really, really hear it
hmm,
where it's quite interesting. Yeah, look it up on YouTube Music or wherever you want to look up your music. Bilateral music
hmm,
or
hmm.
8D music, and
Very
it
cool. Yeah.
is, yeah, it's really interesting, and it
And
has,
what's the purpose of that? Is that like more to ground you, calm you, or what's the
yeah, there's can be different depending on the
depending?
frequency that you can use. It can calm you or it can energize you or whatever you're looking to do. You can look up songs for specific things.
Sure. Lots
Mhm.
of interesting things. You did do a lot of interesting things. Okay. So through engaging in all these modalities, you also were essentially building a new business, right? Building new community. So you've become an expert on that. So let's transition that direction. So what tips might you have for listeners? Um, I'm gonna have to repeat that. What tips might you have for listeners on building community if they wanted to build a community or a circle of support?
Well, podcasting is at the core of my communities for sure. Podcasting helped us through all of these things. Most of them we learned through podcasts. Podcasts are amazing because it taps into your brain in a different way where you can relax and listen. You're not
Yeah,
having to watch or be active.
sure.
And and so we learned a lot of these things through podcasts like yours. Your podcast is so awesome. And so I really hope people vote for you in the Women Podcasters Awards. And so we listen to podcasts and having the podcast, that to me, I believe that every community could have a podcast and every podcast can build a community around itself. And how we do that is with free groups, so free Facebook and LinkedIn groups, and then paid membership levels.
Sure. Okay. What else? So tell me more about your company. So tell me about women and podcasters in general. We keep mentioning these awards. So tell me how that what that is that's happening this month, and tell me more about all you offer with your business.
Oh, thank you so much. Yes, so the Women Podcasters Awards, the nominations are closing at the end of April, and then voting will go from May 1st till the end of May. And people can vote for their favorite podcasts that are in the awards there. And then the winners will be announced in June, at the end of June, June 25th, I believe. And then we also have another awards coming up because that the Women Podcasters Awards, this is just the second year. I'm not sure if you are aware of that, but the first year we had such a great response, not only from the women podcasters, but from the podcasting industry. We had a lot of really important players in the podcasting industry come alongside us and support us in elevating women's voices.
Very cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, my mission is to elevate women's voices globally and in the podcasting industry. And so to have people from the podcasting industry come and support us was just meant so much to us. So the first year we had over 400 nominees and 15,000 votes for the
Wow.
nominees.
Wow.
So yeah, so this year
Even
we'll
bigger, huh? Yeah. And you
mhm.
created this. I mean, this is something that you created with your community.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, so
Awesome. Awesome.
the women's podcasters group in Facebook started in 2020 or end of night 2019 actually. And then it's just grown and grown. We have over 10,000 women podcasters in there and over 1,000 over in LinkedIn. And then just from that community we created the membership and the awards. And so that's what we're doing with that. Yeah, and the awards are very exciting. So now we've also started a business awards for our entrepreneur type community.
Sure.
Yeah, and
So
it's called Business Innovators Awards.
awesome. Okay. So I think you have a free gift for women in podcasting. So tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we have a few free gifts for podcasters. If you go to womenpodcasters.com/gifts, we have a number of gifts. One of them is helping you create ideas for your podcast. And so it's an episode idea generator, and it helps you to create ideas for different episodes because one of the things when people start a podcast, they have lots of ideas. And then after a while, you may feel like, oh, what am I going to talk about now? So it's for that little bump in the road where when you need some motivation to create some more ideas for your audience.
So it sounds like if there's ever been a time to podcast and connect through podcasting, you're saying now is the time. It's a lot of work. Just kidding. It's
Hmm.
very worth it though. Just to connect. I learn so much from every guest. I just feel like, wow, I'm a better person just for, from connecting with my guests. So I've certainly had a lot of fun. So thank you for that. Tell me about the other aspect. So you're saying the entrepreneur aspect. I guess I kind of missed that side of your business. Can you expand on that a
Well,
little bit?
yeah, I did. I started with the business network, right? So I
Yes,
kind of
yes.
have transferred that online and it's called an Inspiring Innovators Club.
So
And the
that's
awards
that
are,
side. Got it.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, so I was going to say, where can listeners find you? But you kind of just said, well, tell me your websites here. So
Yeah,
where
so
people connect with you further and vote. Yes.
yeah, womenpodcasters.com. And you can click on awards there and vote for your favorite podcast like this one. And then for the other website, and we do have the Women in Podcasting show on that website as well at womenpodcasters.com. And then for the podcast that my husband and I have together, where you can hear his story and hear both of our stories and
Yeah, yeah.
lots of episodes there, is called the Inspiring Innovators Show, and it's at innovators.fm.
Innovators.fm. Okay. All right. Well, great. Thank you so much today for coming on the show. Oh, I almost forgot. Got to ask your top longevity tip. I know you give us a lot of tips, but tell me your final top longevity tip, and you can repeat something you've already said.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, above all the things, I really think that community and connection really is the most important for us. So
Sure.
all of the things I mentioned, we do on a daily basis. But I think when it comes at the end of the day, when I look back, the most important thing that helped us move forward was community.
Having that. Yep. Yep. Wonderful. Awesome. Well, thank you, Jennifer, for coming on the show and creating the women in podcasting community, which I have so much more to learn from, and for coming on the show today, sharing your story and your expertise. This was great. I hope everybody takes a vote.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.